In West Virginia, there's a way of life. This isn't a big city. There are no Atlantas, no Dallas, no LAs, no Houstons or New York Cities. There's not a single pro team in this state. All there is Mountaineer football, Mountaineer pride, Mountaineer gut, and Mountaineer glory. Today, the only thing that matters in this state is the fact that one of the most storied programs in college football are traveling our country roads to invade our state. They think this is just another game. They think they will walk out of Morgantown with an easy victory. Today, before 70,000 rabid Mountaineer fans, the number 8 team in the country invades Morgantown. But in West Virginia, fans will tell you this is the strongest team in nearly a decade. Fans will tell you we are no longer trusting the climb. The climb is here. The climb is now. We're not coming. We are back. Grab your favorite beverage. Hone in your Mountaineer traditions. The time has come. We've struggled. We've waited. And the time is here. Buckle your seatbelts. College football is back. And the Mountaineers and Nittany Lions will kick off week 1 of the 2024 football season. Let's go, Mountaineers.
Mm-hmm. 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 Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel alive, and there's nothing that makes me happy. Hold my beer for a minute, I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket. I'm going on a trip and I don't plan to visit. I'm gonna stay there till I feel like I'm winning, and this is just the beginning. I need a big change, help me feel like living. I need a big swing, home runs I'm hitting, and I'll never look back, moving on till I get it all. And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? Let's go! Hey! Yeah, this is my life, my strife, my right to fight, to die on. And this is my game to play, to claim a brand new name, And I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm a bit nervous that I might screw everything up that I've ever done. But what's the point of living if you ain't having fun? I guess I'll try this, try that, might miss, gotta find what I'm good at. I guess I look here, look there, over where am I scared, where am I at? I gotta make it in this life, whatever makes me happy, know I'm doing things right. Sipping in the summer on a goose and Sprite, or find a nightclub for the end of the night, And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be?
Well, welcome in, everyone, to Voice of College Football, West Virginia style. Today is the day, man. We've all been waiting for this. I'm so excited. I'm fired up. I'm Joey Foster, everyone. Welcome in. I'm going to post the StreamYard link here in just a second. Anybody can come in, call in if you want to. Hey, I got a special guest out in the back room with me. I think he wanted to come in. I brought him in, and he brought himself back out. But anyway, let me bring him in. He hosts Mountaineer Locker Room Then and Now on Wednesday nights. Mr. Frank Beer. What's going on, Frank?
Hey, Joey. Good to see you. Boy, I'll tell you what, we've both been around college football forever. I've never experienced anything like this. Have you? I mean, the hype for this game is beyond anything I've ever experienced.
Yeah, I feel the same way, and that scares me a little because if the players are hyped, they tend to over pursue. They tend to make stupid penalties, and that happens. And being the first game of the year and a game this hyped up, that really worries me going into this. But I do know that Neil Brown will get them settled down, get them calmed down, and bring them back to. And then they say once you're out there and you take a first few hits, the game settles in and it just becomes a football game, and the hype goes away, right?
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
Anyway, let me welcome in everybody in here. I appreciate everyone that's coming in. B Bean, nice to see you. Deion Sanders, I know who that is. Colby, nice to see you, brother. Anton Johnson, thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Eric Flowers, thank you so much for being here. Hey, Yvette Stowers Foster, never heard of her. Nice to see you in here, Yvette. Kelly McCourt. Kelly McCourt's with us. Nice to have you, Kelly. Stephen Kyle, I appreciate you being here. He says Penn State 38-14. West Virginia knows who we are, 50-9. A little bit of trash talking going on here. So anyway, Wanda E, hello, appreciate you being here. Hey, got another special guest in the back room with us. Good friend of mine, good friend of the show's. This is just a great guy. Former running back, 1988 West Virginia Mountaineers, who, by the way, played for national championship against Notre Dame. Mr. Eugene Napoleon. What do you say, Eugene? You fired up, brother?
Oh, you already know it. You already know it. What's happening with you?
Oh man, I tell you what, we are ready to go. We are excited, man. This is a big day of Mountaineer football. I was telling Frank though, I'm just afraid that all the hype and everything and the players being excited that causes players to over pursue, that causes them to make stupid penalties and mistakes. How hard is it to settle into the game once the game starts going and all the hype just goes away?
Well, it's difficult, but I'm gonna tell you something. From what I'm noticing, the culture that Coach Brown and that staff has in Morgantown now, it reminds me of what we had with Coach Neal. It seems as though his culture now, he settles those guys down, he keeps them eating killed and allows them to go and play. There's going to be mistakes made. I mean, listen, it's the first game for WVU. It's first game for Penn State. There's going to be mistakes made on both sides, but I think the staff that settles their team the quickest in the least amount of mistakes will win this football game.
Yeah, because I'm sure that that goes the same way with Penn State. They've got some comments posted up around their locker room, supposedly, that were made from West Virginia players. We won't mention no names. So, they're going to have a little bit of hype, too, with them and stuff. So they're going to over pursue. They're going to make mistakes. So it goes both ways.
Hey, Joey, they probably still have a comment that I made back in 1988. No.
Yeah, but you actually, you guys actually showed them that y'all wasn't just running your mouth. What was the score at halftime? I mean, it was like crazy score.
I mean, listen, and I'm gonna share this, and I know, first off, I respect Penn State. I respect their program, their legacy. Obviously, the assistant head coach there is a really, really dear, good friend of mine, Coach Smith. Great family, great man. His brother was a wide receiver at WVU, Harvey Smith. So there's a lot of connections there. But I'm going to say this. It doesn't matter where we play Penn State. I've often said this. I think you heard me say this, Joe. We could play them in the Kroger's parking lot, right? You're going to be excited to play this game. It's one of these games that gets your blood going. So I'm looking forward to the matchup, but I'm hoping people don't think that Penn State's going to roll into Morgantown and it's going to be a cakewalk. I hope people don't think that. I'm telling you, West Virginia is going to have something to say today, and it's going to put the whole college football, everybody on notice that this program has turned the corner, and people who did trust the climb, they're going to get the benefit of watching WVU play a heck of a football game today in Morgantown. I cannot wait. I'm excited for it.
Now, did you get to hear it when my live stream first started? I did a little opening comment statement and things that I kind of scribbled on paper last night, making notes. And it's just the truth that this is more than this state. There are no Dallases, there are no Atlantas, there are no Houstons or LAs or New Yorks. In this state, there are no pro teams. Everything revolves around Mountaineer football. it's Mountaineer pride and Mountaineer guts and Mountaineer glory. Everything is Mountaineer around here. So you have a whole state behind you. Um, and it just makes a difference in Morgantown. Football just means something different. It's a pure college town, unlike anywhere else. It's a pure college town, and I love that about Morgantown, and it makes it really
Absolutely.
special.
Absolutely. I say it to this day. There's no other place like Morgantown, West Virginia, when it comes to the landscape of college sports, period. So that's a very true statement, Joey. It doesn't matter. You know, I've been to Oklahoma, I've been to Iowa, I've been to places that are similar where that is their pro sport, so to speak, because there are no
Mhm.
pro teams in that particular area. And still, there is nothing like Morgantown, West Virginia, the great state of West Virginia, when it comes to the fans. We know when we put the uniform on that we're playing for the state.
Yeah,
We know that. Yeah, it's
Frank, you're getting some bad feedback every once in a while. Let me mute you and see if it was you. Yeah, it's you, mute. It's you, Frank. You're getting a bad feedback here.
Yeah, can you hear him more?
Yeah, he comes in every once in a while. Sounds like a hum. Sounds like an airplane flying over your house.
Yeah, it's neighbor is. Let me mute my. So
Oh, okay. Scott Lemons, welcome in. Appreciate you being here. He says most of Penn State does think we are a cakewalk. We don't get respect from them like we give them. Two different types of class between our schools. Exactly, it really is. You know, although I have to say some Mountaineer fans aren't even giving Penn State respect this year. You know, so I don't understand that at all. I've seen a comment that listen, guys, this is the dumbest comment I've ever seen in my life. I seen a tweet go out this morning, something about taking your batteries to Morgantown with you so you could throw them and hit the players with them. Don't do that shit. That's the dumbest damn thing anybody could ever say in their life. Don't do that stuff, man. Act like you've been there before. This is a football game. Am I right, guys?
absolutely. Please don't do that. But first off, one thing about coming into Morgantown, the bottom line is you want people to respect us because of what we put on the field, the product that we put on the field. You don't want to make the 5 o'clock news or 6 o'clock news because a Penn State player got hit in the head with a battery. No, please don't do that. You know what I mean? That takes away from what we've built here. You know, play hard, play smart, play fast, all those good things. Play with character, win with dignity. So there's no place for throwing batteries at at the opposing team. Not at all.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I can remember, listen, it was Joe Paterno that told everybody to wear their football helmets inside the stadium because they get hit in the head with quarters and everything, wasn't it? Wasn't that Joe Paterno?
Well, there was Joe Paterno, and then years ago, I believe when Pitt came into Morgantown, their staff was saying something very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I mean, come on, guys. It's just it's a football game. It's trash talking. You know, it's let them do the hard nose hitting. Let the players hit each other and stuff. You sit back and enjoy it and talk your smack, but don't be throwing things at the players. That's just plumb silly. I'm going to post the StreamYard link and invite some people in if they'd like to come in. Anybody got a question? Anybody wants to come in and talk about stuff? Let's talk about a few other games today. How about Georgia and Clemson? You know that. Georgia's without two of their star running backs. Two of their running backs are out for this game, so that might change things a little bit in Clemson's favor.
Well, Joey, let me tell you something. 9 times out of 10, with programs like Georgia, I guarantee you it's the next man up mentality. And that third string, where that third string back is probably just two.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's going to be. I'll put it to you this way, though. If Clemson can get to the quarterback and not give him a lot of time to survey their defense, that's going to be a telltale. I think conversely, if Georgia obviously can convert on third downs and keep it, second and short and really expand their playbook, that's going to be really interesting. It's going to be a good football game. I actually picked Georgia in this game earlier in the week. And I like both programs, but I just think Georgia have too much firepower.
Yeah, I agree. I think Georgia. I think Clemson. I know they're ranked really high. I think they're 14th. I just don't think Clemson's a top 15 team. I think they're a top 25 team. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're a top 15 team. And I do believe Georgia's a top 5 seed.
Yeah.
So that's going to make a difference.
Hey, Joey, the game that I'm looking at, I agree with everything you guys said about that game, but the one I'm looking at is South Dakota State at Oklahoma State. I'll tell you right, Gene, people don't know South Dakota State and the Dakotas. I mean, look at what North Dakota State did. They really should have won that game at Colorado. All the way to the 4-yard line, I think, at the end of the game. South Dakota State won the national championship last year. And let me tell you, one of the teams that they had to beat along the way was State University of New York at Albany. Everybody's looking at Penn State and Pitt. But I'm telling you, this is the game that's coming up next week is the biggest game in the history of SUNY Albany. They're going to be flying just as high as we are this week. But South Dakota State is unbelievable. And I'll tell you, if you have a chance to watch that game, do yourself a favor and see some hard-nosed football.
That's going to be 100%.
Go ahead, Eugene. I'm sorry.
Say you're 100% right. I don't think, and again, it's probably because maybe people don't have a chance to really watch those programs, but I've watched those programs for some years now, and they're both, you're 100% right. They're both very good programs, very capable programs. I always tell people this, they have scholarship players too. So at the end of the day, they're not going to just roll their helmet on the field and lay down for you. You're going to have to beat those kind of programs, and they're both very capable. You're 100% correct.
Another game that I'll be keeping on today kicks off at 3:30. Miami and Florida. Miami. Here's what I want to know about Miami, and I see TF out there in the chat. He's a Miami fan. I want to know, is Miami back? We hear it every year. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. This is the first year that I predict Miami to win the ACC. I think they've got the talent. I think they've got the team. I think they've got the culture finally in place down there again. I really feel like Miami's a good team. And today at 3:30, after the Penn State West Virginia game, I plan on turning over to that game and watching some of it because I want to see if Miami really is the team I think they are, or are they going to fall apart again.
Well, now that's at Florida, correct?
Yes, that game's in the Swamp.
Listen, okay. And I'm probably going to wind up doing the same. I know I'm going to my nephew's little cookout here, right around 2:30, 3 o'clock. So I'm going to tune into that game a little bit as well. Miami always, with the hype of, is Miami back? Fans that are true Hurricane fans, I've had a few of my guys who played there many years ago, they have to win a national championship. That's just what it is, because the fans are not going to be happy. I don't care if they go 9-4, 10-2. They expect national championships at the University of Miami, right? For that to happen, now they'll say, oh, Miami is totally back. You look at the history between Miami and Florida, of course, they're great games. But when you go into the Swamp, I'll tell you, that's going to be a good game. I'm looking forward to seeing how Miami deals with any type of adversity on the road in the Swamp, because there's a lot of players that are young that really don't understand what that game is. And probably the same thing on Florida's side. I just think Florida, once again, seem to have their number when they come to the Swamp. I don't know what that's about, but it's going to be a good football game. I hope Miami can stand the test of going in there early. Who hates to lose early? You watch what happened with Georgia Tech and game last week. Georgia Tech in Florida State. I'm sure Florida State was sick, that they lost to Georgia Tech, but this is why we play the game. People can talk all they want, but you got to get on the field and you got to play the game. So we'll see what happens. It should be a good one, though, Joey. You're right. It should be a good one.
Frank, I'm sorry. I muted you again. Go ahead if you want to say something.
Sorry about that. My neighbor's mowing his lawn. One of the other things, too, to talk about, Joey and Eugene, is what's happened so far, even though it's the first week. The Big Ten is not looking good. I mean, North Carolina lost their quarterback, and they still won in Minneapolis on Thursday night. I'll tell you, I don't know if you saw this last night, but Western Michigan gave Wisconsin everything Wisconsin wanted, and they were close well into the second half. Ran a great fake field goal to put themselves down to score. And Michigan State looked terrible against Florida Atlantic. And so, I think that's one thing because, if you look at the landscape of college sports, we all know how good the SEC is, but the Big Ten is saying, oh, we're right there with the SEC. The problem is that the quality of the football in the Big Ten, top to bottom, doesn't really match what's going on in the SEC. And, it's very early, but for those teams to have trouble at home doesn't say positive things about the Big Ten.
Right.
I agree with you.
Go ahead, DJ.
No, I was going to say I agree with you definitely, and also this transfer portal. I know people talk about the transfer portal, different things of that nature, but it affects everybody the same. It really does. You know what I mean? So we can talk about it, but at the end of the day, these schools that are getting a lot of these top tier kids that transfer into their programs now can compete, with these other programs, and you'll be surprised. You have some kids who say, you know what, I'm not going to go from another Power 5 or Power 4 to another one. I'll go to one of these other programs and help them build because I know I'm going to get a lot of the marketing. I know I'm going to get a lot of the opportunities that maybe I didn't get at a Power 5 or Power 4 program. And that's fine. But now on the field, it's leveling the playing grounds with these other programs. And I'm glad to see it, to be honest with you. I really am.
Yeah, it always does help. And look, I know there's going to be like this Power 2 eventually and stuff, and maybe not some of these smaller teams ever going to match Alabama's, Georgia's, Michigan, Ohio State, the success of those programs and stuff, but they can compete. Let's not get that wrong. Don't make a mistake. Those guys can compete. Primetime game tonight, Notre Dame, Texas A&M. I really like Notre Dame. I just don't think they're a top 10 team. But I think they're going to take care of Texas A&M tonight. I think Texas A&M's got too much going on down there. New coach, new changes. Still trying to work on their culture. And it's a Texas program. And what do you know? A lot of Texas programs have a culture problem because there's so many donors and stuff that want to get in there and tell them how to do things and throw money at things. Money can't fix all the problems, can they? Can money fix everything with a football team? No. I mean, can money help? Yeah, sure, but it ain't going to fix all your problems. So I think Notre Dame is going to take care of business with Texas A&M tonight. What do you see, Eugene?
Well, again, Notre Dame and listen, there's a sore spot whenever we talk about the Fighting Irish, isn't it? Okay,
Always is. I wasn't going to mention it. Listen, I didn't even want to talk about this game in front of you, but that's why I just like nonchalantly went into it. I didn't want to emphasize that. Yeah.
But I have to be honest. Listen, Notre Dame is a great program. So let's be clear. And you have to respect that. But I agree with you. I don't think Texas A&M can match up with them for 4 quarters. Even though they're at home, it's going to be a great atmosphere. So it always is. But I agree with you. I don't think 4 quarters of football, mano a mano, some way, shape, or form, I think Notre Dame will pull it out. I think they'll win this game. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing, as you said, I want to see what Notre Dame does throughout the long haul in the course of the whole season. You think about it, the last 2 years, coaches got them playing very well, and there's some people saying the same thing about them. Is Notre Dame back? You know what I mean? Similar to the Miami case, are they back? Well, again, because they've won so much in years past, they have to win the national championship, or at least contend for one, in my opinion, before you can honestly say they're back, because then that means they're consistent across the whole landscape of a full season. And that means they're consistent in every phase of the game, offense, defense, special teams, and all that. That's what you're used to seeing for great Notre Dame teams. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Frank, how about you? How do you see Notre Dame, Texas A&M tonight?
Well, these are two programs. I agree with you completely, Joey, that throw money. I mean, they have resources. The reality is Notre Dame has not been a factor since Lou Holtz. Let's be blunt about it. And Texas A&M, I'll tell you, if you look at the financial finances every year, either A&M or Ohio State or Texas right at the top. But the reality is that neither of those teams are where they used to be. It's pretty clear. They've tried a number of different coaches. They've brought in various players, 5 stars, 4 stars, and it always ends up to be the same. So, I mean, I think it's only a matter of time before the national media, who rule college football, really are going to say, wait a minute now. Where are we going to invest our resources? And that's why I think today's game is so important for West Virginia and for Penn State. Penn State can't afford to lose this game and continue to be right up there in the national conversation on the college football playoff. And to stay in a national spotlight, West Virginia, this game is so critical for WVU. And I really look at the comments here, and the fans are right spot on with their thoughts about today's game. And thumbs up to you guys. And
the thing about it is I hear a lot out of Penn State, but about, now it's a 12-team playoff. We'll be in the playoffs every year. Hey, if you get third place in the Big Ten, there's no guarantee that you're going to get in that playoff. So, and you still got Ohio State, Michigan, and now you got USC, Oregon, Washington right there in the Big Ten with you. This is going to be tough to even finish third in the Big Ten. So,
Absolutely.
So Penn State can't afford any losses, because a loss today to West Virginia and then finishing third in the Big Ten would just kill their chances for a playoff spot. It would destroy it. So, and so says I think it's going to be a tight for Notre Dame, especially with the offensive line issues. And Texas A&M probably is going to come after them hard. Knowing that offensive line is suspect.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah. I had a quick question for Frank. Going back to the whole 5- and 4-star system, what do you think about that system? The way the way high school players are ranked compared to coming to these big programs, and they think that because you're ranked a 4-star or 5-star, that's going to automatically translate to these Power 4, Power 5 conferences. What do you think about that, Frank?
Well, I think you're right, and there's a sort of a flip side on that too, and that is, and I see it with people I know in terms of their kids and players themselves not starting in a major school, going to a D2, D3 group of 5 school, and prove themselves on the field, and then they become really hot commodities in the transfer portal. So I don't think the 4- and 5-star means all that much. If you follow it statistically,
right.
The same old schools. I mean, if you look at the Big Ten and you look at the SEC with 4- and 5-stars, then you look at the Big 12 and the ACC, and yet obviously look at TCU a couple of years ago, going all the way to the national championship. So I think you're absolutely correct. I think the 4- and 5-stars, that whole concept isn't as it doesn't mean as much now that we have that transfer portal. And now the NCAA is talking about basically adjusting the transfer portal, sort of closing the spigot a bit, particularly after spring. So, because kids are leaving after spring ball. I mean, there are a number of schools that lost quarterbacks, skilled players, other skilled players after spring ball. And so we'll see what happens. But I think you're spot on.
Yeah, I don't think that's right either. Players going through training and going through all the spring camp and everything, and then playing spring ball, and realizes that they're not going to be a starter, or maybe they just think that they're not a fit or whatever, and they leave. I think you got to give it a little bit of a chance. Used to be you wasn't able to leave without sitting out a year. I think they really need to bring that rule back. I think that should be a rule that when you transfer, you set out 1 year. Listen, this is still a student athlete, right? And you're a student before you're an athlete. And so when you're changing colleges, I mean, look at JT Daniels, USC, Georgia, West Virginia, Rice. What kind of degree did he get? I have no idea. So I just don't understand. It's student first, and we should be thinking about the students instead of just the athlete, and helping them to realize that it's best to go to college and get an education and stay at one place and get that education. And if you become a graduate assistant and you want to go somewhere else and get another degree, maybe not offered at that university, great. Go over there and play football for another year. We've had plenty of kids come to West Virginia, and we've lost plenty of kids to that. And that's great. I don't think any Mountaineer fan out there minds a player transferring to another school to get a better education or get a degree in something they can't get at West Virginia. I think
Sure.
that's fine. So,
I'm gonna share this
I've
with
got
you.
a couple. Go ahead,
I'm
Eugene.
not sure. I'm not sure if you know this. Years ago, I mean years ago, you couldn't transfer into Notre Dame as a football player or basketball player or an athlete. They wouldn't accept that, right? So I remember when I was being recruited by Lou Holtz, when I transferred out of Pitt, he was the head coach at University of Minnesota at the time. When I took my official visit, he knew he was getting the Notre Dame job. Told me right on that visit, listen, I'm going to Notre Dame and I wish you can come with me, but Notre Dame does not accept transfers for athletic purposes. And I always thought, like, wow, I didn't know that at the time. So to your point, Joey, being a student athlete, I've always said student first, athlete second. When the university is going to get, a great athlete, but this individual may not be the best of student. And because of where we are now with the landscape of college football, with the whole transfer portal, and you get to go to 2 and 3 other schools, you're 100% correct. I'm more on the lines of, yeah, it should be. When I left Pitt to come to WVU, I had to sit out that year, myself and A.B. Brown. So it should go back to that.
Mhm.
Either that or your GPA should be a lot higher if you're going to bounce from school to school. Instead of a 2.5, maybe the transfer should be a 3.0. I don't, you know what I mean? A solid B average. Because guess what? Then that means you're actually, as a student, I got to bring at least a 3.0 into this other institution, which means my grades that I'm transferring in there, they're going to be pretty decent, or I'm not going to be able to leave my other program. They have to fix that. I agree with you 100%.
That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. And something I hadn't heard before or thought about was, hey, put a grade limit on that, a 3.0. That's a great idea. And
Yep.
that'll keep a lot of kids from being able to transfer and make them do better in school and bring the student part back in the word student athlete, right? In the word student athlete. Go over here to some comments in the chat. Scott Limit says, really, I see teams being sluggish. In some years, teams look like they never lost a step. But so far, most games are struggling or very slow. This also may be because of the new playoff system. I don't know if it has to do with the new playoff system. I think it's just game one. I think it's just week 0 last week with Florida State. Now, listen, I don't think Florida State's a top team at all. But but Georgia Tech is not a playoff team either. So Georgia Tech probably a top 25 team. Florida State may be a top 25 team. But neither team set the world on fire over in Ireland. I didn't think myself. So yeah. He says, I think Texas A&M or ATM might pull it out. Yeah. Colby says, W is playing with house money. Don't think W wins, but damn, I really want y'all to. Yeah, I'm gonna give my score prediction at the end of this broadcast. So stick around. I've been saying it for a few days, so we'll see where I go with that.
What is it that you guys are most concerned about with respect to Penn State throwing at WVU? What sort of keeps you up at night? Is it offense? Is it defense? Is it particular players? What are your thoughts, Eugene?
I personally think up front, if we can handle Penn State's, their front, 5 to 4 players up front, I think that's always problematic.
Yeah.
Eugene, you're muted or something.
Yeah, you've gone your volume.
There's no sound, Eugene.
Yeah, I mean,
No, I think you're back, Eugene. I think you're back.
Okay, so I'm sorry about that. Somebody was trying to actually call me, but I think it starts in the trenches. It starts in the trenches, and I think if we keep our quarterback, we can keep Green upright.
Yeah.
I think we'll have a chance. And then conversely, when we're on defense, I want to see what happens in our secondary. Yeah, because your first game out, you get the first game jitters, as I was saying, but that's for everybody. But we can't afford to have a missed assignment in the secondary and give up, big plays. So those are the two things I'm a little bit concerned about. I think we'll be able to weather the storm early. I just don't want to give up big plays late and give Penn State any momentum. They don't need any momentum.
Yeah.
I've got
Joey,
two things. I've got two things keeping me up, Frank. I'm gonna tell you what the two things are. Number one, I talked about already, and that was the fact that this is a really hyped up game for West Virginia and in Morgantown right now. I'm afraid the players may ever pursue. I'm afraid they might do costly penalties, and that bothers me. But the one thing that really concerns me is something that was a key to your game on Wednesday night, Frank, and that was the special teams. I think
yeah.
our special teams is really, I worry about that special teams defense. I mean, let's bring that. Let me. Do you still have that on here, Frank? I'm gonna bring that up.
Yeah, I have
Eastern
it
game.
up there. Yeah,
Let's see. Look at this.
very at the bottom.
Yeah, kickoff coverage. WVU was number 125th nationally in 2023. Kickoff defense, only 22 touchbacks, 1,100 yards given up, and 3 touchdowns. Oh man, that is a kill right there. That's where we have to do better on special teams. So I remember last year saying, just kick a damn ball out of bounds. Just give it to them on 35. It's better than the 45. Just kick it out of bounds.
Well, the good thing about that is that it was an issue back in spring. I mean, those numbers were stunning, and we almost lost the Baylor game because of those 2 long kickoff returns. And they have to strengthen Hayes's legs if he's going to be the kickoff guy, because we got to get more touchbacks. So I agree with you. But, Gene, this is exactly what Pat Randolph said the other day. And it's telling the 2 offensive guys are most concerned about the defense. I mean, their defensive ends, Sutton and Carter, I mean, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the Mountaineers tackles to keep those guys, because they got to keep Green mobile and got to have quick hitters to those wide receivers and running backs. But I mean, Penn State, I mean, I grew up not far from Penn State, and there's no 2 ways about it. When people say, Penn State, and I've seen it in chat, disrespect West Virginia, Paterno made no qualms about it. He didn't want to play West Virginia, didn't think highly of West Virginia. And
Right.
As we said the other day, just to remind people, Penn State never came into the Big East when Syracuse and Pitt and West Virginia came into the Big East. They stayed as an independent and then jumped to the Big Ten. And they've always felt, we're better. And I understand that and had to live with it for years. But the reality is that what I'm most concerned about, to answer my own question, is that Brown has built this program with his kinds of coaches and his kind of players. And it's at a point now where you hope now we get the payoff. Yes, last year was the appetizer, so to speak, but now This is the main course. And so I guess I'm pleading with myself and all our fans that if we lose today, just hang in there. Let's not do a flip from, wow, we trusted it, to, look, here we go again. We can't win the big one, because Penn State is on everybody's list for the college playoffs, and West Virginia is being talked about.
Yeah, so it's rumored.
Frank, those are great points, and I got to jump here in a second, Joey. But I want to piggyback on something. I couldn't have said it better, Frank. That's 100% correct. If you go out and, God forbid, let's say we lose today, okay. I think people forget, and when I hear the term blue blood, it bothers me to a certain extent. I know we played for 1 national championship, and I was blessed to be part of that particular team. You look at the top programs in the history of college football, wins and losses, we're 15th. We're 15th, right? To me, so where does that put us in the landscape of the history of college sports? We're 15th. So sometimes I get it boggles my mind when people don't respect the record, and when they don't respect West Virginia football. You can't be ranked in the top 20 of anything in the history of anything and not be respected.
I think,
So I just want
I
to say
think what
that.
you're saying has a lot to do. I think a lot what you're saying has a lot to do with with just trolls and the state of West Virginia as a stigma, out there. I think it's just the stigma of, oh my goodness, just a bunch of toothless hillbillies up there in West Virginia. I think it has to do with that. I think though, I can remember playing was it I think it was Alabama in 2014. Nick Saban's I think it was Nick Saban that said, I can think of 120 other teams I'd rather play than West Virginia on opening day. I mean, because it's the truth. And I'm sure James Franklin's thinking that right now, sitting there going, I can think of 125 other teams I'd much rather play than West Virginia on opening day. You know,
Well,
so
he's smart.
I,
Smart man.
yeah, smart man. Hey, Eugene, I know you said you had to go, but before you go, I'm sorry, I got to do this. All those platinum records on your wall back here. Tell everybody who those belong to, my man.
Absolutely. No, and thank you, Joey. So I am the president of NapVision Entertainment, which is an independent record label for the last going on 29 years now. My beautiful and talented wife, her real name is Tracy Napoleon, but her professional stage name and singing name is Naya, NY''A. So those platinum and gold plaques back there, they belong to her for an illustrious career, which I am just over the moon excited and really happy for her success. In her career, she has 21 number one hit singles, 4 platinum albums, a gold selling, singles, I should say, platinum singles, and a gold selling album, and Grammy considered twice, in her career. And she just was named early part of the year the Global Legends Award recipient, which is, you're talking about Madonna, you're talking about Michael Jackson in that class, which is unbelievable for an independent artist on our independent label to amass such success. So I'm I can't be happier for her success and for what she's done and her contributions to the music industry.
Yeah, so there's a song you can go watch it on YouTube, or you can watch one of our old videos. It used to be our intro, but I had to stop it because YouTube kept hitting me with the copyright. Even though Eugene gave me permission to use it, and we did everything, they were still hitting me with copyright. So we had to quit using that intro. But the song is called 304. It's a song that they wrote about. She wrote that about West Virginia, and it's got some great video footage of Eugene in his playing days and Mountaineer Field. It's called 304. And just an amazing song. But Eugene, before you go, I've got somebody in the back room. These two are just great friends of mine. They used to follow us over on Golden Blue Dude. They're still good friends of mine. They got a great channel called Storgy Stories, and it's Jay and Anthony. Hey Jay, hey Anthony, how you guys doing? Great, man.
I feel like we're among royalty here. I feel like with all those records in the background. Pleasure meeting you.
Thank you so much. Pleasure meeting you guys as well. Look, I'm gonna give you. I wish. Let me where I could. Here it is, right here. So that's the national championship ring versus Notre Dame, right? I wish it. Now it's funny. I wish it had the number 1. When you win it, they put the number 1 in the middle of it in all diamonds, right? So mine, the WV in this is WV in diamonds, but I wish it was the number 1. That would have meant we'd have won. We'd have beaten Notre Dame, but that's okay. I wear this thing religiously.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think every time I've seen you, Eugene, you've had that ring on, Joe. You wear it really. Yeah,
absolutely.
Proud Mountaineer.
Joey, when I go on other college campuses, I have this ring on.
That is spectacular.
Yeah. I love it, man. I love it. Well, Eugene, I do appreciate you coming in and stuff, man. It's always great to have you. We got a post-game show after this that Frank's going to do. Hope you can stop in for that too and things. But I know you said you got to go out of town or go to a cookout or something. So.
Yeah, but remember, so I won't be able to stop in. But listen, let's go Mountaineers. Hail WVU. And before I get off this thing, I know you said you're going to give yours, Joey, your score of the game. Do you mind if I give mine?
Oh, go ahead, Eugene, please. By all means.
West Virginia 24, Penn State 17. Let's go Mountaineers.
All right. I'll take it, man. Take it. Yes, sir.
Take care. I see you guys enjoy the game.
Good seeing you.
Thank you, Eugene. Take care, brother.
Okay. You got it.
All right, man. How's that, Jay?
That is
How's
a
that, Anthony?
fantastic get and a great story of a team that, from what I can tell, and I come at this a little bit from the outside because I'm married into becoming a Mountaineer. I'm originally a grad at Marquette University. Marquette football undefeated since 1960. We always joke about that. But I grew into what West Virginia football means to this state and to the pride that the team has in the state. And that team, I think, showcased the Mountaineers to the rest of the country and showcased the state to the rest of the country as much as few things that, looking on the outside, looking in, that I can think of that has shown to the rest of America what WV is all about, what West Virginia is all about as an entire state.
Yep, I agree. So, Anthony, now you guys have been on like a tour of baseball fields for the whole season and stuff. When y'all going to make it to Morgantown?
It's a budget question.
Yeah. Well, we've seen a WVU baseball game before.
Yes.
Well, if it's a budget question, it sure wasn't today's game. I'll tell you that much right now. Ticket prices. This ain't a budget game.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, the goal is, I guess, to get to Morgantown for a game in the next few years.
That's exactly the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we now live. I'm originally from Wisconsin. That's where we lived before we moved to Philadelphia, which is our current home. So we're what, 4 hours from Morgantown?
4 hours from Morgantown, yeah.
So it's just how to balance out my work schedule and the budget and finding the right time off for when I can take it. So it's a lot of factors playing in, just a lot of practicalities. That's all it is.
Yeah. You guys be sure and tune into Sorty Story. Stub him up over there. They're great people, and they do baseball live streams. They do. Heck, y'all do everything. Y'all do pro football, basketball, baseball. Y'all cover everything over there. Just an amazing channel. But I love the fact that you guys have having this father-son bonding time, going to all these Major League Baseball fields this year. I've just enjoyed watching your trips, your vlog, so to speak. Just enjoyed watching it all. You guys are fantastic.
Now, what I will say is that it would have been easier for us to make WVU game travels a lot easier had we been born maybe 40 years earlier, like been born in Eugene's time, because it would have been the 80s. It would have been back when WVU was competing for Lambert trophies to be the best in the East.
Yeah. Right.
So they would have been playing Maryland, Temple, Penn State a lot more, Syracuse, Rutgers, schools a lot closer than we are.
Yeah.
The Big 12's hurting us.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I mean, I miss the rivalries. I miss the Virginia Tech, the Pitts, the Penn States, the Marylands, the Syracuse, Boston College. Doug Flutie never beat West Virginia. I mean, I remember those days. It was so much fun. I just, and now I'm still a Mountaineer fan. I still root for our team. I'm really excited every game day, just as excited as always. But it sure would be nice to be able to just drive down the road here to Blacksburg and watch a game, or drive up the road to Pittsburgh and watch a game, or, drive over to Maryland and watch a game. It's just like little hop, skips, and jumps from where I'm at. I love that. But now it's a little hard to get to Lubbock, Texas, guys. It's just a little tough. just a little bit. So Rooster in the house. He says, "How you going, my friend, Sorgy?" Rooster, appreciate you being here, Rooster. Well, so listen, I'm going to wrap this up. It's almost time. It's almost 11:30, and I always turn my radio on at 11:30. I gotta listen to Tony Creedy, and and get that energy going, that them juices flowing. I gotta hear my man Tony Creedy and his intro into this game, and so I want to hear from everybody here, including in the chat. What's your score prediction? Your final score prediction for today? And there's Jackson Johnson. Jackson, I was just getting ready to get off, but I'm gonna bring you on because I'm gonna start with you, Jackson. I want to hear. You're an Alabama fan, so you really don't matter. I'm just kidding. No. Tell me your score prediction for the game, West Virginia, Penn State, and what do you think a key to the game is for West Virginia?
Well, I will say it's the running game for West Virginia. That's going to be key. Because they got They got to make life a living heck for that Penn State rushing defense.
I agree there. I agree there. And I think we've got a three-headed monster in the backfield, just like when we had Steve Slayton and Pat White and Owen Schmidt in the backfield. I'm not Owen Schmidt. Jeez. You know what I'm saying. But yeah, Owen Schmidt. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Damn it, Christmas. I've done lost my train of thought. But we we had a three-headed monster back then. I think we got a three-headed monster today. Might be a little bit of difference there. But we do have C.J. Donaldson, the big back, going to get in there and bruise you. We got Jim White, who's a fast one, who's going to get in there. And Garrett Green, who's a scrambler and is going to scramble around back there. Watch out, because that dude can throw a ball. If you think he can't, that dude can throw a ball. So, Jackson, give me your score prediction for this game.
Well, as I said earlier this week,
You're on a Mountaineers stream.
I
I just want to let you know that. And
I know.
I've got a little bit of power here. I can throw your ass out. I'm just kidding. Now go ahead and give me your.
Well, reluctantly, I said it would be Penn State 28-20, but I will say though, I'll be pulling for those Mountaineers on big noon kickoff on Fox. I hope they pull it off against Penn State. I want to see, and it's too bad we didn't see Penn State West Virginia matchups from 2005 to 2007.
Yeah,
Those would have been huge. I mean,
Yeah.
think
those
about
would have been
it. Yeah.
that would
Yeah,
have flipped the script. That would have flipped the script a little bit too, because I think we were a lot better team then. And I do want to say this: you're saying you hope that West Virginia wins this game as an Alabama fan,
Mhm.
and I was in Rooster's show this morning, South Carolina channel, and everybody in there in the South Carolina channel was saying they want West Virginia to win this game. Then I went over to Uncle Lou's, and everybody at Uncle Lou's was saying, I want West Virginia, except for the Penn State fans who were saying they were going to kick our ass and it's going to be an easy game. But everybody over there was rooting for West Virginia. And then obviously in here, some of them are in here right now. We got John D'Adamo coming in here, a Michigan fan. Yeah, I think West Virginia can pull it off at home. I don't think, does anybody like Penn State besides Penn State fans? I really can't find a single person. I
frankly think the scandal from the last decade turned the rest of the country off to Penn State, to be real frank. And I know I'm sitting in Philadelphia, so that can be very dangerous.
We live in Penn State country.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
I deal with all Penn State fans at my job.
Yeah.
Right. Well, let's see. Anthony, I'll go to you first. Anthony, give me your score prediction for today's game, and what's your key to the game?
We saw what happened last year in State College. I think it's going to look a lot different this year. I think it's going to be a close game. I have to give a shout out on the defensive side to Josiah Trotter of the Mountaineers, who is a graduate of St. Joe's Prep, where I'm going to high school here in Philly. So shout out to him. And Garrett Green and company. I think they get it done. The Mountaineers. I'm going to go with a win 27-24.
Sounds good to me. Jay?
Now this is where, having been in sports radio and being more of the analyst versus the fan, this is where I'm going to come into play. And the score I'm going to give you is not going to be what's going to make you happy, but I'm going to give you a way that West Virginia can win this game. I'm going to predict Penn State 24-20, but you talked about that three-headed monster in the backfield. If West Virginia can use that effectively enough to create big plays out of the play-action passing game, if they can complete two big plays through the air with play-action passes and one of them's a scoring throw, West Virginia wins.
That's a good analysis there. I like that. Frank, let's hear your key to the game. Probably going to go back to that special teams thing, I'm sure, and then also your score prediction.
Well, looking at it from a stat side, last year, surprisingly, Penn State did not outrush West Virginia. West Virginia outrushed Penn State. Drew Allar killed us. He had his best game of the year, 75%. He was 58 or 59% completion for the year on average. He was 75% with us. We got to contain him. But what really frightens me is Singleton and Allen. Singleton, did I get that right? Yeah, Nicholas Singleton and Keytron Allen, who are just studs as running backs. Our defense has to stop them. What we can't do is let those guys run downhill. So our defense is, because that opens up the short passes and what happened last year, the long passes. So we have to worry about that. But I still think I picked the other night. I'm going to stick with it, 28-24 WVU.
All right. So now we're down to me. And I think the key to the game, number one, it's everybody's hyped up. Everybody's excited. The fans are and the players are at West Virginia. They're just excited. And that causes you to over pursue plays. That causes you to make stupid penalties. You've got to limit that. And I think if you go, I'm getting some feedback.
Yeah.
Let me see who it is here. Oh, I think it was Sorgy. Oh no, it must have been Jackson. I don't know. Anyway, I think if we can limit those crazy penalties, those them unsportsmanlike conducts because you hit a guy out of bounds because you were just so hyped up. If you're going in for to tackle a back in the backfield, don't over pursue it, and get your angles wrong. I think that's really key in this game because listen, it won't take much for Singleton with Penn State to shift on you if you've over pursued it and just run around you and be gone down the field and just be gone. We've seen it last year. So we can't over pursue. We have to keep containment. And I think if we do that, West Virginia can pull it off. Now, here's the problem. I think that late in the fourth quarter, I just feel like Penn State's going to pull this out. And I've got a final score prediction of 27-24 Penn State. But if West Virginia can keep them making costly penalties and keep them over pursuing and sure up special teams, West Virginia can walk away with this thing with an easy win. They really could. They could win this game 31-21, 35-21. But anyway, guys, I do appreciate everybody coming on with me today. And, let's all get ready for Tony Caridi and the voice of West Virginia getting on there and giving his opening rant. I love that at 11:30. I've got to tune into that. I'm going to play this new intro for you guys, and it was my intro. But I'm going to play it for you one more time to let everybody go on a high note. Let's go, Mountaineers. This is some Carl Joseph highlights, guys. So enjoy this.
And join us for the post-game show.
Sorry. Oh, yes. I'm sorry, Frank. We do have a post-game show coming up right after the game today. Sorry about that, Frank. Frank Fear, Coach Greg Chris, and Frank, you want to tell them about it? You got some guests coming on?
Yeah, we're not sure exactly who is all going to be able to join us other than Greg and myself, but we're going to be post-game every game this season, about 15 minutes after the final gun. So join us, and we want to see all of you guys back.
Yep,
Don't forget to tell everybody about what Frank Fear and friends are doing on the post-game shows every Saturday. And don't forget to tell your friends about the Mountaineer Locker Room with Coach Chris, Frank Fear and friends.
Hey, thank you very much.
Night.
Thank you for all you do, Jackson.
Yeah,
You're
thank
welcome,
you, Jackson.
Frank.
All right, guys, we'll get out of here and we'll see you guys later. Enjoy this little video highlight of Carl Joseph.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel alive, and there's nothing that makes me happy. Hold my beer for a minute, I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket. I'm going on a trip and I don't plan to visit. I'm gonna stay there till I feel like I'm winning, and this is just the beginning. I need a big change, help me feel like living. I need a big swing, home runs I'm hitting, and I'll never look back, moving on till I get it all. And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? My strife, my right to fight, to die on. And this is my game to play, to claim a brand new name, And I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm a bit nervous that I might screw everything up that I've ever done. But what's the point of living if you ain't having fun? this, try that, might miss, gotta find what I'm good at. I guess I look here, look there, over where am I scared, where am I at? I gotta make it in this life, whatever makes me happy, know I'm doing things right. Sipping in the summer on a goose and Sprite, or find a nightclub for the end of the night, oh. And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it, how you gonna move for it, what you gonna be? And do